Hi, River Lady here, and on this video I am going to talk about hummingbird feeders and mixing nectar and feeding your hummingbirds, basically. Okay, let's get started. One of the problems that you'll face with your hummingbird feeders is as the outside temperature rises, the nectar inside the feeder will become cloudy. Once the water does start showing a cloudiness, which I find in the hot weather starts at about day 3 of having the feeder up, you want to take the feeder down because that is a growth of bacteria. We want to make sure that we keep our nectar feeders clean, which helps to improve the health of our hummingbirds. First off, let's mix some nectar, and while it's cooling, then I'll show you how to clean your feeder. All you need for hummingbird nectar is water, good old-fashioned tap water, nothing expensive, just tap water and granulated sugar. The formula for hummingbird nectar is 4 cups of water to 1 cup of sugar, 4-to-1 mixture. I don't add any dyes, just plain sugar, plain water. You don't need any special sugars, just boiled tap water and granulated sugar. Don't get hooked into buying any special sugars that have electrolytes added to them or nutrients for the hummingbird. All you need is granulated sugar, boiled tap water, and a spoon for stirring. I do boil the water. Boiling the water helps to reduce any bacteria that might be in it, gives you a little longer in the feeder before it turns cloudy, and it helps the sugar to dissolve. You don't want to serve hummingbirds nectar that is either too hot or too cold. So once you've formed your nectar, you do want to let it cool to room temperature. If you store some of it in the refrigerator, you want to bring it to room temperature. Typically what I'll do when I mix 4 cups of nectar is I'll store half in a clean glass jar and I'll place that in the refrigerator. Hummingbird nectar stored in the refrigerator has a shelf life of about 2 weeks, so keep track of it, and after 2 weeks you will want to discard any remaining nectar. While our nectar is cooling, let's clean our feeder. You don't need any special cleaning ingredients for cleaning a nectar feeder. All you need is a bottle brush and hot water. Don't use dish soap. It can leave a residue inside your feeder. You don't need to use vinegar. If you're changing the nectar in your feeder often enough, you don't need any special cleaners. I don't buy fancy nectar feeders. I purchase the wide mouth variety at my local hardware stores, and it fits the bottle brush beautifully. I can get in there and clean all the little nooks and crannies. I do my cleaning over a basin where I can collect the water, and then I use that water in my gardens or in my compost bin, and that's all there is to it. You give the feeder a good rinsing when you're done wiping around with a sponge, clean all the bottom pieces, shake off the excess, and you're good to go and ready to add the nectar. Okay, so the new feeder is up. As you can see, I didn't fill it as high as the previous feeder. The weather is starting to get very warm. Today's going to hit close to 90. I know some places in the country, in the world, are dealing with extreme temperatures. Sorry about all the other places. Sorry about global warming, and wish I could fix everything, but I can't. Anyway, back to hummingbird feeders. The nectar that's in the chamber is pretty much protected, but the nectar that's in the cylinder will turn rather quickly in the strong sun. So this time I only filled it about a quarter full, and I might have to clean it more often. Instead of a 3-day schedule, which I'm typically on with my hummingbird feeders, I might have to go to a 2-day schedule. Now above the feeder, and I'll raise the camera and zoom in, is I have an ant guard. You can see it right there. I don't have to add any pesticides to it. I don't have to add any water to it. It's just a device that I buy at the beginning of the season. It lasts the entire season, and it keeps ants away from the hummingbird feeder. If you look at my feeder, you'll see that I don't have any yellow petals attached to the feeder. There are some feeders that will have plastic yellow petals to mimic flowers attached to the feeder. That's not necessary. The hummingbirds will be attracted to the red components of your feeder. Keep your feeders simple. I saw a nectar at the garden center yesterday and I was blown away. $12.99 for a half-liter bottle of electrolyte-infused hummingbird nectar. The manufacturer had added sodium bicarbonate. Absolutely unnecessary. Our feeders that we put up are not meant as the main diet for hummingbirds. They drink nectar from your feeder, they drink nectar from your plants, but they also eat small insects. So don't go buying fancy items, keep it simple. So that's pretty much it. Go on out now and get yourself a hummingbird feeder, granulated sugar, tap water, and an ant baffle, and have some fun. Happy... Oh, now that's cool. Hummingbird watching.